Okay, so this is for the pandemic passport. So we have two different types of login, one for user, one for provider or a lab. A lab is someone who actually tests the user to make sure they are not infected with COVID. We have set up multiple languages. We have English and a few other languages like Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, which are Indian languages. And we're adding French, we're adding Spanish. The translation is done, we just need to add it here. And it takes us about an hour or two to add a language. So we have a translation matrix backend. We can go ahead and add a language based on that translation matrix. We have been requested for Zulu, Taswana, Afrikaans, Swahili, Arabic, and German. So those requests have also come in, and we will be slowly adding those languages into the tool. So just want to let you know it's multilingual. We are trying to make it as global as possible. So we are trying to use more images than words because we think images are more universal than words. It's a global tool, so we need to be aware of that. So as we go through, we are more than happy to collect that on how to further simplify this interface. So we'll start with the user. So you could be anyone. A user is anyone. It's like you, me. So when you go in as a user, typically this is your social passport or pandemic passport, as you're calling it. We're not using the term pandemic. More like a social passport. Lets you walk into your work, lets you walk into your social gatherings, and it shows you a risk score, which is a proprietary algorithm that we have created, which based on actions, based on who you have met, based on your symptom reporting, based on your test results, we combine everything into a single score. The idea being you share the score rather than you share all your personal details with someone. Very simple number. We are adjusting, the score will adjust and the color of that circle will change depending on if the score is low, medium, high. We're going to call it EPID safe score. We'll kind of trademark it. We'll call it EPID safe score. And that becomes more universal. Idea being, what's your EPID safe score today? Are you doing good, bad? So depending on your symptom reporting, a lot of it, the combination of trust and test. So we trust individuals to appropriately report their symptoms, but we also test them regularly at various points for their temperature, their body temperature, and we also they can also get themselves tested by an approved provider to constantly reduce their risk score. So they can see their test results, they can go in and take a look at their body. Right now, they're only having body temperature tests here, but they can also get themselves tested for COVID.
Antibody.
Antibody. Yeah, they can do antigen, antibody, or viral DNA test. And then those results will also start showing up here as they get entered by the providers or labs which are doing the tests. So that's one. One of the key feature here is one user can interact with other user, and what we want to capture is we want to capture interactions between users and between user and a place. So there are two types of interactions we have in the system. One is one user interacting with another user. That is one type of interaction that's built into this release. The next release will have interactions between users and places. The way that works is we are playing around with a lot of things here, user privacy and stuff like that. Now, say suppose you're meeting this guy, Adam. So you can go ahead and search for his mobile number. And I think, Harsha, we need to have a country code defaulted here. That I think you guys are working on. So it's minor adjustments here and there that the app would be working on. So then you search for the mobile number, or you can scan the QR code of an individual. So you're not required to have a mobile phone to use an app. You might not want to disclose your phone number to use an app, right? You want to keep your identity hidden. If you're going to do that, then you can just have a QR code on the app, and by just scanning a QR code, your name and number would come up, and the pandemic passport also acts like a digital identity. Once you get tested, your picture and your name and your number get locked into the system. So a provider is going to verify your identity and lock it into the system. And that allows your identity to be locked with us. So you don't necessarily need to have a mobile number to use the app. It's good if you have a mobile number, that way we can send you text messages and stuff like that. So now you're interacting with Adam, you have an option to screen their temperature. We ask you if you are wearing a mask or if Adam is wearing a mask or not. Maybe Harsha, instead of saying is the other person wearing a mask, you might want to put their name there. That might be better since we already have their
Yes,
name.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Just minor adjustments as they're going through. And then this is like a simple two-touch. The idea here is a lot of taxi drivers might be using the app. A lot of drivers, gatekeepers might be using the app, right? So anyone can be a user the way it's designed, right? So optionally, while you're interacting with someone, we would like to know during that interaction, were you wearing a mask or if the other person was wearing a mask. We feel, we think based on research that we have seen so far, mask is the most important weapon against COVID right now. So we would like to know if you are wearing a mask or the other person is wearing a mask, and that goes into our risk score calculation. So if it was an interaction where mask was not worn, then our risk score is going to go up, and body temperature also goes into our risk score calculations there. So once that happens, then you can start an interaction. The body temperature of the other person gets logged here. So
this page has to be logged on, Himanshu. Yeah, interactions has to be appeared here.
Yeah, so I think there is a small bug here. All historical interactions need to show up in your existing, not historical, your live open interactions would show up on the screen. Right. And then you would have an option to stop or end the interaction once that meeting ends, basically, between the users. Yes. So the idea here is it's a self-logging mechanism right now. We are giving user the option to log the interaction or not log the interaction. We're not forcing it on them. And the reason being that users might want privacy. So if you or one of your friends is meeting in a restaurant and you don't want to disclose that interaction, that's up to you to disclose or not disclose, right? We also have a daily symptom reporting. So on a daily basis, we would like to know whether you're feeling good, not good, and certain organizations might want to enforce that on their employees. And we have an option where if you don't do daily symptom reporting, your risk score starts going up slightly. Like if in 48-hour period, there is no symptom report from you, and so you will start slowly increasing your risk score until you come back and start reporting back on your symptoms. So our risk score is a weighted risk score. So say suppose you are not feeling well 10 days back. So that's going to be not as that symptom report will not have a high weightage compared to your today's report. So there's a lot of calculations going in for each of these things. So you report your symptoms, you say how you're feeling, mild, moderate, severe, and then you kind of go from there. And then you can also, if you're going in for the first time, you would also like to know since when you were not feeling well. So we can go ahead and, pick a date since when did your symptoms start. And that's important because for contact tracing, as you know, we need to determine the efficacy period. We need to find out when the user was infectious, and we need to contact trace them during that time frame. So all of this information goes into our contact tracing application, which the government officials can use to appropriately contact trace these users and see how, what's going on. So this is all self-reporting at this point, from a user's perspective, is what we have. So this is basically what it is. So you can scan another person. So we kind of covered that, scan QR code. So everyone has a QR code, which is our open QR code. You can go ahead and scan that. So this might not be required, Harsha, scan QR code. In the interactions, when you add the interaction so this basically is how you are adding an interaction. So when you scan a QR code of a person, the assumption here is that you are already interacting with that person. And if you're interacting with someone, you would like to know what is their risk score. Like yesterday, we had someone walk into my house. So we are getting some, since we have been sitting at home for so long, right? We're getting some home renovations done. So we had an interior decorator walk into our house, and she was wearing the mask, and everything was good. And she spent a good like 5 to 6 hours in our home trying to do various measurements of our restroom and living area and all that stuff, right? So I was wondering, when was she tested, right? What is the risk score? Uh, is her company making sure she has been properly tested before they're sending her to our home, right? So those are the kind of questions going through my head, right? And she's going into so many different people's home on a regular basis. So I'm not really sure if she's going to infect my family or not. She's in my house, right, during a pandemic time. And I have no way of knowing her risk score. So if she has an app like this on her phone, I can very quickly scan her QR code and see her risk score right away, and her identity, her picture, her name. So I know this is the person whose risk score I'm looking at, and I'll see their name as well. So that's the whole idea. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible. And it would also log it in as an interaction. We can have an option here, Harsha, as I'm going through. When you scan a QR code, we can
Okay,
give them
Himanshu.
to log that as an interaction or
Yeah.
not it as an interaction right there. You can scan anyone's
Hmm.
QR code and say, yes, log it as an interaction, or
Hmm.
don't log it as an interaction. So you can log the interaction right there.
Even there
Currently,
is in the scan QR code section, Himanshu, can we put phone
yeah,
number also? Maybe, yeah.
yeah, you
Let's
can
see.
add phone number and other details
Hmm.
if required. We were trying to, if the user has shared their phone number, then yeah, we could
Hmm.
show their phone right here. And
Yeah.
also, you can have an option saying log interaction with this user, right? So you
Yes,
can
Himanshu.
click there, and that will just log the interaction so that we know that you met this person on so and so date. And if this person tests positive after 4 days, I will automatically get notified. Right? I'll get a text message
Yeah.
from my application saying that
Yes.
Adam Jones tested positive 3 days
Hmm.
after you. So of course he
Yeah.
was when he was meeting you. So
Then we need
please
to be self quarantine. Yeah.
and stay at home and slow down the pandemic, right? So that's how we all can help. I think it's a combination of
Yes. Yes.
every person,
Hmm.
every individual, every government, and every enterprise or every corporation, employers. That combination is the key to slow this thing down there. So this kind of describes the pandemic passport user side. We have a provider side. So Harsha, you want to get in as a provider? A provider or a lab is someone who is conducting tests. They have two major roles, provider, in our application. One of the most important role is they conduct tests, and the second important role for them is to verify identities of the user. Once they verify a user's identity, their picture and their name gets locked in our system. So they cannot go and back and change their picture once their identity has been verified. So essentially, it means that once you test negative, we know who tested negative, and your name and picture, everything gets locked there. So this is the provider. The provider can collect, samples. They can collect antibody samples, viral DNA samples, put them in with a unique ID. So currently, they are collecting sample for a user. So Harsha just scanned a user, and then now they're verifying their identity, making sure yes, this is the person who is standing in front of you, whose sample you're collecting. Once the identity gets verified, they enter the test kit ID. We also have a barcode one, which I guess it's not working right now. We can allow
Deployed.
you to
Yeah.
scan the barcode of the test kit. And the test kit ID, Harsha, should be renamed as unique ID, not test kit ID, because that has different
Okay.
connotations in different countries. So you want to
Hmm.
remove that test kit ID and just call it unique ID there. And you can
Yeah.
provide some hints or whatever, if you need to, but that's just an option. It's not required. And then just
Yes.
save that information there. So we also give you a unique ID from our end. So you might have a unique ID on the test kit, and then we provide a unique ID which the provider can go back and enter into the system from their end. So this is our unique ID. So if you want to go back and now you want to enter test results, the results come back after 2 hours or after some time. You can go in and then you can search by that, our unique ID, or you can search by the test kit ID. That again, I think we need a better name for test kit ID, Harsha, there.
Yes,
I am, because for different countries, they're using different names there, but the unique sample ID is our unique ID. Maybe we should call it EPID-Safe ID or something like that. The unique sample
yes.
ID should be called unique ID, or something like that. We need better nomenclature. We are open for feedback. We are getting a lot of feedback from various countries right now. Slightly different processes in different countries. So we're trying to adjust the application and the nomenclature accordingly. So this is one, so they can just, it's a very simple way for them to, enter the results for each user, and then just kind of go through that way. I think the success should also be a little bit more obvious as to test results were saved successfully for which user, and these are some minor adjustments that we can make in a subsequent release of the application. Because if I fat finger a wrong user, then I need to know who I fat fingered or what happened, because it's really important that my results are accurately noted. So we are open for feedback like that in the application. But net, the application works fine. The backend is good. The data is getting saved. On the UI side, there are minor adjustments that we might have to make, which I think we can.
Yeah, in next couple of days we will have a cleaner version. Everything will be working fine.
Yeah, we just clean out the UI. It's not very difficult.
Before the next demo,
Yeah. And what else do we have? Yeah, so the body temperature, the provider can also take body temperature. So any user can take body temperature of any other user, but provider can also take body temperature of another user. So we're allowing that to happen as well. So I think we covered everything here so far. I'm going to stop the recording. Any questions? Open for questions.